I think the first thing is show them how to check the traces. Alright? Okay, so if we're going to check the traces, what we need to do is put this on continuity check, or the beeping symbol. Okay, come up here and hit this, and notice the little beeper comes up. And now if I take these leads and touch them, it beeps. Okay. Right lead on this side. If I touch the other side of this yellow, you'll hear it, it'll beeps. So that means this wire is good. So all it traces is a wire that's on the printed circuit board, and we have to check those, make sure none are broken. Okay, so one of the faults, or several faults, could be open traces. Open means broken. Okay, we're going to be checking the traces. This is how you check to see if a trace is good or bad. Okay, I'm going to go from point A, test point A, to test point B. And test point A is the bottom of the capacitor, that's the negative side of the capacitor. And test point B is the right side of the potentiometer, and it should beep. You can hear the beep. It also says 0.2 ohms. Okay, now I go from test point A to test point 2. Test point A, so we're still on the bottom of the capacitor, over to test point 2, and it should beep for continuity. That means that's a good trace. Test point A should also go to pin 2 of the IC. And in order to read the pins of the IC, you start on pin, the little notch right here. Okay, what you'll do is start over to the left of the notch. It counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to pin 2. We start with 1, 2, and it should beep as I connect test point 1 to 2. And next, test point 2 should also connect to test point B, which is to the left of the potentiometer. Okay, test point 2 should also connect to pin 2. So test point 2 goes up to pin 2. 1, 2 right here. Okay, test point 2 should not connect to other things. Okay, if I go from test point 2 to pin 3, okay, test point 3 does not beep. Okay, I'm not going to do the ones that don't beep. We're just checking for good traces right now. Okay, now on the bottom part of the schematic, we have test point C. Test point C is located, two spots test point C is located. I can either touch here or here because they're both the same. That's test point C, this is test point C, so they should beep. Okay, so I can touch one or the other. I'm going to use the outside one to begin with. Okay? And see, this is just a piece of metal that runs underneath here. It's all one continuous piece of metal, so it doesn't matter which side of the metal I touch. Okay? We go to test point D from C, they should have continuity. Test point D is on the other side. This is test point D, is where the black lead is. C should also connect to ground, which if I take the black lead and take it all the way up to the black post where the positive 12 volts comes in, it should also beep. I can also touch the ground down here where it says G and D, that's a ground, it should beep. And there's another ground. So it should beep on any one of those grounds. This ground is connected to this ground, and it beeps. This ground is connected to the black post. Okay, so they're all connected together. Also, D should connect to test point G. Okay, again, D is over to the right side of the potentiometer, and G is the negative side of C1003, which is right here. It should beep. Okay, so that's test point G to test point D. Okay, G should also connect to ground. G should also connect to pin 4 of the IC. So we go to pin 1, 2, 3, 4, touch ground, it should beep for continuity. 4 should also connect to test point G, which is here on the capacitor. Pin 4 should also connect to test point D, which is on this side. Okay, test point 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 should connect to test point D. Okay. Pin 7 of the IC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight across, 6, 7 should connect to test point H, which is located on this side of the capacitor C1003. Okay. Test point 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 should connect to test point 3. I'm going to switch hands. Test point 5, pin 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So pin 5 of U1 should connect to test point 3. Pin 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 should connect to test point E, which is located on the positive side of the capacitor. Okay. Test point F, which is the negative side of the capacitor, should connect to the output. Test point 1 should connect to the input. There's test point 1, it should go to the input. If we're going to go from check the trace between pin 6 and the positive power supply, we have a switch between pin 6 and the power supply. So if I go find pin 6 first, I'm going to put the black lead there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And with the power switch off, switch 5-2, I take the red lead and I touch it to the red terminal block of the trainer, which is where 12 volts is fed in. I have no beat. I'm going to take this hand and I'm going to flip the switch on while the red lead is touching positive. And there it connects. I turn the power switch off, and switch 6 no longer gets the connection. On, off.